What's up? Hey, what's going on? How are you guys doing today? Gonna give you guys just a few minutes to let Facebook notify you guys that we are live and ready. I'm gonna invite a few people onto the broadcast. For those of you that are brand new, welcome to Women Insurance and Entrepreneurship Facebook community. My name is Bernice Oliver. I am the facilitator and curator of this amazing community of women. And yeah, we got a lot going on, right, y'all? The world has changed in a matter of weeks. And I wanted to come on and have a conversation and do a little pop-up training, but have a conversation about how we need to try to, or how we can navigate this new guard, right? This new world in terms of us doing business inside of our agencies. You know, in the matter of 14 days? No, a little bit less than 14 days. Now we're having to do more remote work, more than we've ever done before. We're having to manage teams via online, chat, Facebook, Instagram. We're having to be very creative in terms of how we lead our teams. But I thought this was a great opportunity for us to come on and talk together as a community, to get our questions answered. But also I wanted to share, you know how I am, I always want to share some encouragement, because the way I see it, and I wanted to give you my take on this whole, you know, COVID-19 virus thing. And for those of you, again, who are brand new to the community, welcome. We love you. This is our opportunity to kind of wrap our arms around you, give you a hug and a kiss and say it's going to be okay. Well, maybe not now, because we're supposed to be social distancing and making sure that we're staying away from one another and we're not infecting each other. But I wanted to also share, you know, my take on this whole COVID-19 thing, and how I really want to encourage us to think differently in terms of what's going on. Yes, we're having to shift the way we think, and we're having to shift the way that we do work each and every day. But the way I see it, we can do two things. One, we can prepare, which is why I titled this Prepare or Panic, or number two, we can panic. And for those of you that are my VIP clients that have worked with me in the past, or that are currently working with me, you know, I always encourage you to embrace that CEO mindset. And what I mean by that is I want you to kind of take a page out of the playbook of these major corporations and see what they are doing and how they are managing and rising to the occasion of what's going on inside of this COVID-19, you know, pandemic. And what they're doing, Amazon is a great example of stepping up to the plate. They're hiring more people than ever before to work online. They are, you know, they're donating money to help their workers take care of, you know, buying groceries and food and, you know, childcare and all of those things that are going on. And so I'm asking you, how is it that we can rise to the occasion? All of us as business owners, what can we do? Hey, LaShawna, thanks for jumping on. Thanks for being here. What can we do to serve our communities better? How can we rise to occasion and offer that support and that value and that community feel to the clients that we serve? What could you be doing differently right now today to help your clients? I'm going to use LaShawna as an example since she popped on. Yes, you have to be in the hot seat. You know, I love to put people in the hot seat, but she happens to own Posh Salon and Suites over in Tequila, Georgia. And, you know, she does an amazing job about support. So I think anyone who is watching this, you guys need to go and connect with LaShawna over on Facebook, because she does an amazing job in terms of supporting community. No matter what, she's been doing this. That's just who she is. She's been doing this for years. Every year she's doing, you know, a coat drive. She's doing, you know, the toy drive for Christmas. She's always looking for opportunities to feed the homeless and take care of the people who are less fortunate than us. She's always stepping up and raising her hand to support a woman business owner who may be struggling, who may have hit on hard times. And she's the first one to send out a message. Hey, so-and-so needs help. What can we do to support her? And so, yes, I'm going to take this opportunity to kind of toot her horn, but I also want to show you how she's risen to the occasion each and every time, each and every time, but she's going to do even more of that now that we're in this pandemic. So what are some things that you might be able to do to help your client? Be it sending out, a checklist of, some things that they may be able to do to help them be more effective if they're working from home, and or maybe looking for different ways to, entertain their children now that they're having to take care of kids, in the home each and every day, or maybe help them rise to the occasion in terms of homeschooling their children. What can you do? What are some things that they can do? Sharing resources. This is your opportunity, you guys, to step up to the plate and really show up as the leaders that we are called to be. Each and every one of us that are watching this video, myself included, we are leaders, right? And so it's an opportunity for us to stand up and say, we're going to lead. Now is not the time to panic. Now is the time to support. Now is the time to add value, to share resources, to take care of the community. That is what we should be doing. And we're going to do it here inside of Women, Insurance, and Entrepreneurship. I have some stuff I want to share with you guys that I've decided I'm going to do to support my community, because you guys are important to me. And without me, without you guys, I don't exist. Right? A leader isn't a leader if we don't have anybody to follow them, right? And so it's no need for me to just say I have a community if I'm not going to step up to the plate and be the leader that I said I wanted to be. You guys didn't ask me to lead. I decided to raise my hand and say that I would. Excuse me, I had my chair behind me and it was kind of tripping me up, but I decided I wanted to be the leader of this community. I wanted to lead NAWI. Right? I wanted to lead the National Association for Advancement of Women in Insurance. I wanted to lead women entrepreneurs and help them build a life and a business that they love. And so since I decided I wanted to take on those responsibilities, then I am held accountable for taking care of you guys. And so I want to do that. So that's enough for that, off of my soapbox for that today. But I am saying that today is not the day to panic. It is time to prepare. Right? It's time to shift our mindset so that we learn how to manage and lead remote teams, because gone are the days right now. Really, it's going to happen over the 30 to 45 days. We are all going to have to start working remotely or some forms of remote work. And so I wanted to give you some best practices and some tips. I have put together a work from home toolkit that I will be sharing with you later on this afternoon or tomorrow. I'm kind of doing some revisions. I hate misspelled and types on a document. So I want to make sure that it's really all nice and pretty before I send it out, but it's absolutely free. It's going to be about a 30-page document that I'm going to share with you about that, all about working from home and time management skills and productivity and how to lead teams virtually and all of those things. But I wanted to come on today and share the tips with you personally that I found to be most helpful when I am trying to work with teams virtually as well, and when I'm working with agents. So here are the 10 best practices. I wrote them down on my notes that I want to help you to embrace the new way of working. So number one, I want to encourage you to shift your mindset from hours work to results achieved. Now, we live in the new millennial, you guys. And so I know that there is this train of thought that, if they ain't work 8 hours, I'm not paying them 8 hours, they got to work. But here's where the truth of the matter is. If the work is done, if the results are achieved, who cares if they achieved it in 3 to 4 hours? Who cares? If the results are met, who cares how many hours it took for them to do that, right? And so I want each of us on the line, and those of you that are watching this on the replay, please indicate that in the comments by notating #replay. But I want you to shift your mindset from an hours work mentality to a results achieved mentality. Now, results achieved need to be very clear. So what I'm saying about that is that you need to have some very clear guidelines in terms of what results you'll expect on a day-to-day basis or a weekly basis. But if the results are achieved, I think we have to do away with, particularly now what's going on in the world, we can't really manage those hours work because we're all working remotely, or we're going to have to go to some form of remote work. You're going to have to let go of that. So that's number one. I hope you guys are writing this down. I want you to work on shifting from the mindset of hours work to results achieved. Thank you, Tracy. I hope this makes sense for everyone, because I really want you guys to get this, and I want to be here to support you. All right. So then number two, I hope you're writing this down. Number two, decide how you want your team to work, right? And what I mean by that, we're thinking in terms of results-oriented mindset, map it out. Sit down with your team today and map it out if you have not already done so, and create a clear and documented business plan of what you want to do in terms of what goals you want to have achieved each and every day. Just go ahead and write it out. What's going to be the, typical virtual office hours in terms of communication? What will be your standard communication method that you're going to use? Are you going to use Skype? Will it be Zoom? Will it be Slacker? Maybe it's instant messenger, whatever it is. Are there other types of communications that you want to use? Are you using Asana to manage the task? Are you using Trello to kind of do project management things? So there are several different project management apps that I recommend. Trello is the one that I love and that I recommend. It's absolutely free to use, and you can invite your team in, and you guys can be working on one particular project together, particularly when you're dealing with maybe you got homes that you are ready to be closed and scheduled for closing, and you need to make sure you got binding, all the evidence of insurance out, all of those things have been sent out. You want to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks. And so how are you going to manage that? I recommend going out and grabbing a project management application app, whichever one you like. And then what are going to be the key performance indicators? How are you going to measure where you've gotten whether or not you've achieved or accomplished the results that you want to accomplish on a weekly or a daily basis? So that's number 2. I want you to think about deciding on how you want your team to work. Go ahead and map it out today if you haven't already. Number 3, choose the right communication tools. And I talked about this a little bit in step number 2, but you definitely want to make sure that you're looking at different types of communication tools. And there are tons. I actually am going to post them here in the chat, but here are my suggestions for messaging. Again, Skype, Slack, there's Google Apps, there's Google Hangout Chat, there's Convo, Trello, of course I said, for project management, Asana, Basecamp for document storage. I know you guys already have maybe Box, or maybe you're doing one of the company approved document storage. Whatever it is, just make sure it's adequate for what you need to do. Hang on, hold on, my thing froze up. My chat box froze. Okay, so I wanted to make sure you guys had it. All right, perfect. Now, I want to just make sure that you've decided what specific email tools you are going to use, what messaging tools you're going to use, and how do you want your team to report the results that they've worked on, that they've achieved. How do you want those results to be reported to you? So that's very important that you do that. Number 4, hire the right people from the beginning. I said this to a client last week because she was saying, I don't know if I trust them to work from home. Well, maybe they're not the individual that should have been working for me for the very beginning. Because if you can't trust them to do the right things, whether you're looking over their shoulder or micromanaging them, and I don't know about you, but I'm not a micromanager, nor do I adhere to or believe in micromanaging at all. But if you're a micromanager, that's on you. That's the way you want to manage your team. I don't recommend that you do that because I think it's completely ineffective, and it's really counterproductive when you become a micromanager. You're wasting too much time, energy, and resources trying to manage an individual rather than focusing on 2 things: finding the best people that you need to work, and secondly, let them do the work. Get out of their way. I'm going to say that again because I want y'all to hear me. When you hire people, and I don't care what type of business you own, when you hire people, you need to focus on 2 things. Number 1, hiring the best people that's going to fit into your world or your team or your agency or your salon, whatever it is, your restaurant, I don't care. And secondly, let them do the work. Let them do the work. Just get out of the way and let them do the work. But you got to focus on hiring the right people from the start and get them off on the right foot, meaning you got to properly train them. Oh, another thing that I do want to share, put a little note right here. I will be doing a pop-up time management training for staff. For those of you that want to send your staff, this won't be inside of the Facebook group, this will actually be in my Zoom training. But for those of you that want more information about getting your staff part of that training over the next couple of days, send me a message or leave it in the chat box that you want info regarding time management training, and I'll get you set up with that information as well. All right, so that's number 4. Number 5, again, KPIs. You know what that is, key performance indicators. What is it that you're going to track and measure for success? I'm not going to beat that over the head. I just want to know, how are you going to track it, and how are you going to measure the success? How do you know when you've achieved the success that you desire for your team each and every day? And I know those of us that are on the line, many of us are thinking production. And so since you know what you need each and every day, how are you going to track the production? So you want to do that. Number 6, and this may or may not necessarily affect everyone online, but it could for those of you that are managing multiple teams across state lines. If you have teams in different time zones, capitalize on that. Capitalize, and maybe you're able to go to more of a 24-hour-a-day project or a 12-hour-a-day project in terms of production and making calls, because you're capitalizing on the different time zones. But just think about how you can capitalize on different time zones. So number 7, make sure everybody who is working remotely still feels included in everything. And what I mean by included in everything, maybe you want to host a working lunch every week, because we're going to be on lockdown, you guys. We could be on lockdown for 3, maybe 4 weeks. And so if we are, how are you going to make everyone feel involved and feel that sense of camaraderie from you and from your coworkers? So I'm recommending that, hosting those working lunch, or maybe having those video chat meetings, maybe even a working dinner. I don't know, whatever works best for you and your team. I want you to formulate a plan to do that. Okay. Number 8, communicate. The biggest challenges that I see that we face as agency owners is the communication or lack thereof. It's communication in terms of what your expectations are to your team, your communications in terms of what results you're looking for, communication in terms of things that you may not be happy about what's going on inside of the agency. But I want you to think about stepping up your communication game. For those of you that are not great communicators, then you're going to have to do a little bit of work. You might have to go to, YouTube University and maybe take some communication training. In fact, maybe I'll do a pop-up on that too next week. I don't know about communication, but communication is key. Communication. So that's number 8. And then number 9 is, when it's time to celebrate, include everybody. When you've hit a goal, celebrate. Have a party online, have a margarita hour, whatever it is, have a happy hour. But whatever it is, celebrate yourself and celebrate your team, because we all are in the same situation right now. We're all facing the same things that are going on, and we all need that spark of energy. We all need that encouragement. We all need, right, to feel good and have that happiness and that joy and that enjoyment on the inside. And so I recommend making sure that you're celebrating all of the time. Celebrate. Okay. So those are the top 9 ways that I want you to begin to think about in terms of this new work order that we're doing in terms of working remotely. This will be part of your toolkit for those of you that were not able to get all of those tips. I want to make sure that I stay within the hour or so I don't want to go over all of them. But I will include them in the toolkit that I'll come back and download and I'll share with you. You'll be able to get a digital copy of it as well. The second thing I want to address with you guys today is I want to talk about your emergency plan. Now, I talked about this 2 weeks ago in terms of your crisis management plan and what you needed to do to get your agencies prepared, because this was going to happen, right? Kind of told you that. So I'm going to give you a slap on the hand. I already told you it was going to happen. And for those of you that did prepare, no worries, it's okay. There is still time to get your office prepared for this emergency plan. And so I want to give you 5 quick little steps to help you get organized and prepared for this whole remote work environment that we're all going to have to probably move to here in the next 2 or 3 days. Now, what I'm hearing, you guys, again, I'm not spreading panic, but I am sharing information. What I'm hearing is that we're probably potentially going to have to move to a more remote work in the next 2 or 3 days. All right, let me see if I have any comments over here. I'm sorry, you guys, it wasn't coming up. Oh, Tracy says, are we paying them hourly or paid based on production? You're still paying them what their base salary is. Again, I still want you to think in terms of you got to let go of, oh, they didn't work the hours, so I'm not going to pay them. Now, you may want to put some guidelines in place in terms of when production is not met, what will be those consequences to their pay or how that happens. But we still want to make sure that we're taking care of our team members, that we're taking care of our staff during this time. You certainly don't want to be cutting their pay now because we're having to go to a remote work opportunity. All right, so thanks for asking that. I hope that answers your question. Let me know if it did. Lashana says, thank you, Coach Mo. I'm definitely thinking of this. As a salon, I've waived fees for this week for my stylist. Right, absolutely. It's so much. It's not much, but there's a small impact I can make. Every little thing counts. Absolutely, every little bit counts. And I think that is great that you stepped up to the plate as a leader, Lashana, and you've given them some relief in terms of not having to pay their booth rent for this week. I think that's amazing because, to be honest, if no one's coming to get their hair done because we're all on self-quarantine or what have you, then they're losing money. And so how do we support them? So again, Lashana, I just love you and I love the way that you lead. And so thank you for sharing that. Hey, Nessa, thanks for jumping on. Hey, Sonia, thanks for jumping on. Hey, Cynthia, thanks for being here with us. All right, so let's jump into the emergency prepared plan. And I shared this a little bit earlier and I'll repost it again. For those of you that didn't get a chance to get my crisis management little checklist, I will repost it at the top. I'll kind of pin it at the top. So you're able to go and you just download it. You don't have to put your email address or anything in, just download it. And it will, and you're able to go ahead and download and grab it instantly. Okay. All right. Fantastic. All right. So let's talk about the 5 steps of getting organized and prepared for this whole remote work situation. So number 1, map out the jobs and the task that is going to be affected by this whole situation. So, I would do just a really list on maybe Excel spreadsheet, and I would talk about, what the tasks that need to be performed and who's going to perform them. So I may go, okay, Coach Mo is going to do this. Phoebe, who's my virtual assistant, she's going to do this. Nadia, who is one of our social media managers here, she's going to do this, and so on and so forth. And so you get the idea. Go through and just write out what each role and duties are involved in each role inside of the agency so that everyone is clear. And I would publish that today. Make it very clear, make it out that there's a physical presence somewhere online that you've shared it with them. So everyone knows exactly what is expected of their job and the task that will be affected by moving to remote work. All right. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, and I said this a little bit earlier, go ahead and find out what hardware and what software you're going to need in order to move to a remote work situation. I know I heard one of my other clients with American Family, you guys are kind of working on some workarounds where they just have to download software versus having to buy new hardware to go out and still have access to the systems, which I think is amazing. I think State Farm is doing the same thing. And then I heard some of the independent companies are offering that opportunity as well. You just sign into the portal. You're not having to get a whole new computer setup or hardware setup in order to keep access through the portals. And so go ahead and audit that today. Determine what is going to be necessary to keep your office up and running and keep business continuity going forward. Because we want to make sure that we are eliminating or alleviating as much revenue loss as we possibly can. And let me be very clear here, you guys, you don't have software, you don't have computers, you don't have phones, because that's a big issue as well. How are you going to manage the phone systems? So make sure that you're doing a full audit on everything that you need, and then work on closing those gaps as quickly as you can. So that's number 2. Number 3 is setting up a communication protocol in advance. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but it's very clear. And I also posted it in the chat box in terms of different ways and different softwares and apps that you can use to make sure that what are you guys doing? What are y'all doing? I got all kind of emojis going on. But you want to make sure that your communication is consistent And so go ahead and in advance, go ahead and set up what your communication protocol is going to be in terms of how often you're going to meet, how often they're expected to communicate with you, how are they going to relate to you when they actually hit a production goal and those types of things. How are those things going to be managed and tracked? So make sure you set up your communication protocol right now. All right, so that's number 3. Number 4 is very important, identifying ways that you're going to measure your performance and track the performance in terms of meeting those goals that you expect. Tracy asked earlier, so am I paying them just based on, them achieving the goals, or am I paying hourly? And so my answer was, at this time, I certainly would not be changing anything in terms of what I'm paying my staff. I think we want to make sure that we're still taking care of one another, but I still will be making sure, certainly will be making sure that I have guidelines in place in terms of what the results I expect. And then what are the consequences? Unfortunately, we all have consequences in terms of what is going to happen should we not hit those goals. Here's a side note. I did post this in the Facebook group on yesterday. In the state of Georgia, if, heaven forbid, for whatever reason, you have to temporarily lay off your employees, it is the employer's responsibility to file the unemployment. It is not the employee's responsibility. And I also know that for those employers who do not file the unemployment, you will be fined and penalized for not doing so. So I don't want anyone here to get penalized for that. So if you decide you're going to send your team home and you're not going to pay your team, and that's just a temporary situation, fine. Of course, we all have to make our own individual decisions about that. But I am saying, in the state of Georgia, the Department of Labor has issued a mandate that the employers are responsible for filing the unemployment during that temporary layoff time. So just be aware of that, because you don't want to be fined or penalized for not adhering to the law. All right. Hey, Tia, thanks for jumping on. Thanks for being here. I think you're one of the new people. Welcome. Welcome to the community. We're glad you're here. All right. Oh, Cynthia, was that you sending me all of those emojis? All right. So what number are we on? I've gotten off track. All right, 1, 4. Okay, so we're on the last one now, and this is a big one too that I want to talk about. I'm not sure where the angst is that everyone is feeling in terms of the whole remote work situation. I understand. We think our staff is going to be at home, watching Netflix, or they're going to be at home playing video games or what have you. I'm not sure. But the reality of it is, you guys, I want you, number 5, go ahead and write this down, is I want you to go ahead and acknowledge the reality that all or part of your workforce is going to have to work remotely. So I'm going to say it again. I want you to go ahead and acknowledge that. That is a very real reality, that all of us, or maybe part of your workforce or your team, is going to have to work remotely. I don't think we're going to be able to avoid it. And since we know that, I think it's important that we all need to be thinking, how are we going to remain operational during that time? How can we maybe have some cross-functional activities for teams to work a little bit more closely together remotely to achieve and accomplish the same goals that we want to achieve, rather than burying our heads in the sand and saying, I'm not going to do anything about it. My team still needs to go in to work. Oh, and by the way, let me say this. I saw this yesterday as well. I'm always on top of what's going on in the industry, because I want to make sure that I bring that information to you guys here inside of the community. But for those of you that are requiring and not giving your team an option to work remotely, you could be penalized for that as well, is my understanding. The Georgia Department of Labor is saying that it is illegal to require your team to come and work and not offer a remote work opportunity for them. So check that out. Again, there's always misinformation out there, but I think I saw that yesterday also on the Georgia Department of Labor's website, that it is illegal right now based on the laws that they just implemented this past week under Governor Kemp. that it is illegal to do that, to require your team. Now, if you're giving them an option, you can either come into work or you can choose to work from home, then that's completely different. But if you're just burying your head in the sand and saying, I don't care what they say, you guys come to work, then you're putting yourself at risk in terms of doing things that are illegal against the Georgia Department of Labor. So I wanted to let you guys know about that. But you really want to make sure that you have all of these responses mapped out. So go ahead and work on your emergency plan and think about those 9 steps that I shared with you, or those 9 tips that I shared with you at the top of this video, top of this training, in terms of how we're going to embrace this whole new work agency, working from home, remote environment opportunity that we are faced with right now. All right, so what questions do you guys have right now? Thank you for staying on. So Cynthia says, Coach, something good is coming out of this. This is also forcing my clients to grow up and to do some other things on their own, like going on automatic draft. Absolutely. Call in for more insurance cards instead of going with the same card. Absolutely. I love that idea. And another thing, so this is a bonus thing that I wanted to share with you guys, and I said this on the training, I believe on Monday, of things that you needed to be doing or could be doing since we're kind of slow. Oh, I wrote it down. I forgot. I had my little notes here. I wrote it down. But one of the things that I recommend that you doing is I would be calling and reaching out to my entire book of business. Talk about work. That's a lot of work. And if you have a team that's at home working remotely, we all could pitch in on this project and be very effective with this. This is your opportunity to audit your book of business. Contact everyone. Those who are not on automatic draft, put them on automatic draft, because they can't come into your office and make those payments anymore. Set them up with an online account with the companies so that they can go directly online for those who don't want to do automatic draft. Review their accounts. This is a great time to make sure that we're doing online, that we're doing insurance reviews, that we're doing life insurance reviews as well as business insurance reviews. So you want to make sure that you're doing those things as well. And cross-sell opportunities are just through the roof, because this is the time to do it. Everybody's at home. What better time to call them and say, hey, we hadn't reviewed your policy in a while, and I was reviewing it and I see we have a few gaps. Let me see if I can, I believe that you have some potential discounts available to you. Let me see if I can help you save some money. Everybody are looking for ways to cut and save money, because we're not sure how long we're all going to be self-quarantined. So that's another way to think about in terms of how you can increase productivity inside of the agency, how you can help your team members be more productive if they do have to go to a remote work situation, or when they go, not if, but when they go to a remote situation. What are the things that they need to be working on? And that is a great way, is auditing all of your accounts and reaching out to each and every customer. Or you may want to take a position that we're going to do a thank-a-thon. I know a lot of times we only think about that towards the end of the year, but this is a great time to do it. We're calling and saying thank you for being one of our clients, one of our customers. Thank you for supporting our agency. How can we help and support you? What resources do you need? I always believe to go right to the source, ask those questions. What do they need? Are they at home with kids? Do you need resources for, online school or school? And what am I trying to say? Homeschooling, right? Do you need resources for homeschooling, or do you need things and ways to entertain your kids at home? Maybe workout. For those of you, Tracy loves to work out. She rides her bike, so maybe she wants to share some tips on how to stay fit and eat healthy now that we're all at home and trying to eat all of the snacks, right? Because I know that's what we've been doing over here, is eating the snacks. So just think of ways, sit down and brainstorm 10 ways that you can be of service and of value to your current clients right now. I think you're going to see a world of difference in terms of losing revenue and or revenue gain, just simply by showing up and being who you're supposed to be and who you were called to be to your clients. So that's it for now, you guys. I hope you found this pop-up training valuable. I'm always thinking about you guys, always looking for opportunities to come and serve and to provide you with resources. Again, so I forgot, I wanted to share one thing with you. I will want it to come on and announce that the Insurance Business Academy, for those of you that have kind of been on the fence and you just haven't been able to do it for whatever reason, I have some good news for you. We've decided to give away some scholarships. And so for the first 100 people that join, they can join for $10. Typically, you know, our academy is not much more, but it's significantly higher than $10, obviously. The price is about $197 a month. And so for those of you that want to try it out for the next 90 days, you can join for $10 a month. So if you're interested in that, let me know that as well. So that is number one thing that we're going to give away, a scholarship to the first 100 women that join. You can join for the next 90 days for $10. For those of you that are already a current member of our Insurance Business Academy, no worries there. We have decided to give you a $1,500 scholarship, meaning that we will do one 4-hour that we're going to offer you guys a 4-hour one-on-one VIP day, which is normally about $1,000 value. We're going to add a few more things, social media to it. We're going to help you with your branding. So it's altogether, it's a $1,500. I'm writing those down, so I want to make sure that I don't forget. I wrote them down, but I'm taking notes. It's about a $1,500 value. We're going to give that to you guys additionally because you're already a member of the Insurance Business Academy, and so we welcome you to do that. For those of you that know people who need to be part of the Insurance Business Academy and for whatever reason they haven't joined, go ahead and share this video with them and let them know, hey, Coach Mo has opened up the Insurance Business Academy for the next 90 days, and you can join just for $10. So a month, so $10 a month for that. And then lastly, we are going to come back later on this afternoon. We have about a 30-page document that we're going to share with you, which is a toolkit to help you all manage managing teams remotely. How do you do that? How do you help them with time management? Oh, and then the fourth thing I wanted to share was we are going to do a time management training for a sales team. If you're interested in that, let us know about that. The cost of that is $10 as well for each team member. But we'll have that in a Zoom classroom, and we'll get that information out to you in terms of dates for that. So we are always in the background working here to help provide an opportunity for you guys to stay afloat and that your business is going to thrive. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I believe in preparation. We are not going to panic, and I'm not going to let you guys panic. All right, so that's it for now. My name is Bernice Oliver, affectionately known as Coach Mo, Queen Quiet Storm. I am the calm to your agency chaos. I am the president and head coach at Bernice Oliver International, where we help women build, grow, and scale thriving insurance agencies. So that's it for now, you guys. Love you guys. I will be back later on this afternoon at about 6 o'clock. Set your timer for that. We're going to do a watch party for this video, as well as sharing additional information, how you can take advantage of those scholarships, how you can take advantage of the sales training, and also how, for those of you that are already part of the Insurance Business Academy, how we can get you set up for your own 4-hour VIP day. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. And I'll see you at 6 o'clock. Set your timers for that. Talk to you later. Bye. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anybody. All right. Sonia says, in other words, figure out ways to start conversations. It always read to business. It'll always lead to business later. Absolutely. Hey, Moya, thanks for jumping on. How are you? Thanks for being here. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss any questions before I jumped off. I was being a little premature. All right. But thank you, Sonia, for being here as well. I absolutely believe that. So reach out to your current clients. Go ahead and start doing that now. And if you need help putting that together, send me a message in the inbox, and I'll be glad to help you with that as well. All right. See you guys later. Talk soon. Bye.